The honeymoon phase is over and I'm using this device for more than a month already. I'm talking about the Vivo X200 Ultra, so it's time for starting my long-term review. Welcome to LL Techview and my long-term review. If you don't know me, I'm reviewing smartphones like those here, long-term, as well as their camera systems, and doing comparisons between those cameras. I have a nice neat ranking system where I rank all the smartphones for camera performance, but also for their everyday performance. And this Vivo X200 Ultra is the contender for one of the best smartphones that is out there. But is that really the case? Is the question that I want to answer in this video. Let's first talk a little bit about the build quality. I have this case on, the official Vivo case. As you see here, there's no wear and tear. There's a bit of smudges there, but that's it, because it's holding up pretty nicely. So even though this case looks a bit cheap, it is pretty good. And the whole phone is very solidly built. It is lightweight. It is not too big or too large. I like this camera button, believe it or not, because the position is furthermore down than on the Oppo Find X8 Pro. It is working a little bit better if you want to hold it classically and take a photo with it. But I also, if I'm holding it like this and have my pinky finger here, I accidentally touch it sometimes, and this triggers the shutter button, which is not what I really like to do. I have a large camera bump here. We have Timmy barking in the background there. This is another dog passing by. Anyway, it is a huge camera bump, actually, very large, and you can even hold it on the camera bump if you want to, which is something that I don't want to do here right now because I will drop it probably, but you can hold it, believe me or not, on the camera bump because it's a very large one. Camera is the main highlight here, and this shows also it's not top heavy at any point, any given point. As you see here, it's pretty solidly balanced. You can hold it on one finger here, even like going a bit down instead of up. So you can see it is not camera heavy at all. So the build quality is definitely very good on the Vivo X200 Ultra for that matter. One thing that we don't have to talk about is the camera quality, because you can see my camera ranking and my various different camera comparisons that I did with other smartphones. It is basically the top. It is unbeatable right now because of this very large ultra wide angle, because of the very large main camera sensor, and one of the best, if not the best, telezoom that is on the market right now. So this is why camera wise the Vivo X200 Ultra no one is beating right now. What about the other qualities like the display? The display is a gorgeous display here without any issues. Slightly curved, 120 Hz, nice AMOLED, nice blacks. And it can get very bright also when you go to the outside world and you're in direct sunlight or something like this. It is directly, without any issues, readable all the time. So even bright sunlight is not making this display dim. It's a very nice display. I really like to look at it, and it's working almost flawlessly. The only gripe I have with the display is sometimes when you go into camera, it's also very bright, especially when you go into video mode and you go to Dolby Vision. It gets even brighter. It's boosting up its brightness level, but it's also, especially in the sun, especially when it's getting hot, dimming quite fast. When you're outdoors, you have to rely on the mobile connection for internet or for calling, and this is gladly something that Vivo is known to have very solid and very good performance. Actually, it's very good, this performance on the X200 Ultra. No issues at all with 5G connectivity or with the call quality on this device at all. So even if I have a bit of lower reception, I still have the possibility to hear my caller very nicely, or the one that I called very nicely without any issues. So this is working fine. The only gripe I have a little bit with this is this GPS. GPS can occasionally be a bit of slow, especially when it comes to also predicting certain things. When you're traveling by car and going through a tunnel, it can be a bit slow. Also when the turn is coming, it's definitely a step slower than, for example, the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. That is one of the biggest competitors to the Vivo X200 Ultra. Now that we have the basics out of the way, let's talk a bit about software. AutoOS 5 running on top of Android 15 is doing a good job most of the time, running very smoothly. You don't have much issues. But if you run into issues, it is getting a little bit annoying. Like, for example, I have a YouTube issue sometimes, not always, that slows down scrolling, and we have micro stutters, or let's call it more stutters when scrolling. And I have a few occasions where I just took a video where you can see this. And sometimes it happens that not only on YouTube but on other apps as well, which is a bit of an issue that I really don't like. They improved upon with each update, but sometimes updates can make things worse, like the camera application that sometimes just crashed for me. The newest update that I just received 2 days ago fixed that. Probably, hopefully, because it's also a random issue that sometimes occurs. You're taking a shot and the camera crashes. The shot gladly is saved in your gallery, but if you try to open up the camera again to take another shot, it is crashing again. And you have to wait for 1 minute, 2 minutes eventually, or you have to force close the camera application and reopen it to be able to access the camera again. If you're in the middle of the shooting, this is a bit cumbersome and annoying, and this is something that I notice on Origin OS. In this generation, especially the X200 Ultra suffers a lot from this, where on the X100 Ultra, I cannot recall it the last time I had a camera crash. But this doesn't mean that the software is bad at all. It's just a little nuance that sets it apart from the likes of its predecessor that didn't have these issues, or the Oppo Find X8 Ultra as well, that didn't have these issues at all, at least during my testing. And this is something that is a little bit concerning in my opinion, though the concern is completely gone when I see the updates and upgrades that arrive for the Vivo smartphone, because I get plenty of those. There are times where almost like twice a week I got an update for the X200 Ultra, one normal regular update and one trial update that allows me to test out new things like improvements on the camera, but also some bug fixes that should improve network compatibility, network stability, and other things as well. So Vivo is really keeping the operating system alive, keeping the updates alive, and really pushing things forward with each update. And I really like to check out the updates because they are improving stuff significantly sometimes in certain scenarios. Music and speakers are a thing that I'm most disappointed by the Vivo X200 Ultra. Even if I ramp it up to the maximum, it gets pretty loud, don't get me wrong there. But where's the bass? Where are the highs? It's almost only focusing on the mids. And yeah, even though the loudness is okay, but the focus on the mids only, scooping out the bass, which is almost non-existent, and the highs being also non-existent, is a major downgrade from the far better speaker system that we had on the X100 Ultra. And sadly, the downgrades don't end here. When we take a look at the haptic motor that is built into the Vivo X200 Ultra, it's one of the weakest that is currently built in any smartphone flagship that has been released this year. And this includes even the X200 Pro, which is like the more downgraded global version of the X200 Ultra, if we can call it like this. But most importantly, its predecessor, the X100 Ultra, which had excellent haptics, maybe not on the same level as Xiaomi and nowadays Oppo, but definitely it was playing amongst the top. The X200 Ultra, however, is not anymore. It is sadly very subtle. It's a tiny bit better than on the Honor Magic 7 or 6 series, which also, like when you're like typing on the keyboard, has very subtle kind of feedback. But even this seems to be in certain scenarios a bit more precise than the X200 Ultras. So it's a downgrade in terms of haptics. Even though it's not completely unpleasant to type on this keyboard, it is not giving you the same satisfaction as it did on the X100 Ultra. So it is a downgrade, and I have to mention it, and this is why it will not get the full points there in my ranking system for the haptics for sure. And especially if you compare it with Xiaomi devices or Oppo devices, and especially the Ultra flagships, the Vivo is definitely lacking this year. issue, and is still top notch, is the fingerprint reader. Ultrasonic fingerprint reader almost works all the time flawlessly without any issues, even if I just tap it very, very shortly, as you see here. And the face recognition, let's try it out somehow. So it sees my face. Yes, it's also working fine. It is a little bit struggling in the dark because it's just a 2D face scan that uses this punch hole camera here, but no issues there with the haptics, no haptics with the tactile feedback also when unlocking, and the unlocking animations and unlocking with your face stuff at all. When it comes to security, we have a security chip, I think, on board there as well that secures stuff. There is a safe as well. The security updates, like I said, updates in general come monthly. So in terms of security, system security, the Vivo is doing fine. Before we talk about my ranking, and I show you my ranking on the computer, I want to talk a little bit more about software, because I said that OriginOS has some issues on the Vivo X200 Ultra with a little bit of slowness here and there, but I have to talk about the good things as well in terms of software, and this is the sheer flexibility and customizability that you have with the OriginOS. It starts from icons that you can change the shape. I didn't like by default this more squarish kind of icons and squarish kind of look in the control center. I have the possibility to make it a little bit rounder, individually rounder, so I can have it like more squarish in the icons. I can choose this icon size. I can turn on the labeling of icons on the home screen. So many things that I can set up there and customize to make it my operating system to my liking. Hell, I can even change the multitasking view from a normal multitasking view that we know from left to right, we can swipe, to a vertical swipe from bottom to up, like we have it on Xiaomi devices. So tons of flexibility, tons of customizabilities that you have with OriginOS 5 on the Vivo X200 Ultra. Tons of other little features and nitpicks, like for example, if I'm in one of my folders and I have like a file that I want to copy over, I go to copy, I have the possibility to copy it in there, but it's also keeping the past paths. And if I have an external device that I attach to and want to multiple times copy over like some images, like for camera review or camera comparison, I have those paths in here, so I can just press on it and it will automatically navigate into my complicated folder structure to the right path to paste them in. So such little things that are very, very handy and neat are supported by OriginOS, and you can find them sprinkled throughout the whole operating system. Then there are AI tools. Yes, there is the possibility to create AI text. As you can see here, it's relying on the Chinese AI version of Blue AI that Vivo is using here. But this one is working fine, but it lacks a bit of English support, so I'm not testing this out so much. The one thing that I really like is when I take photos and I take pictures or I take videos like this horse, for example, I have editing functions that include some AI editing functions that I can use here to optimize this image, or to have smart suggestions on how to optimize this image. And you can see here before and after, so it's brightening things up a little bit. But there are other editing options as well, like cutout options and effects, water, repair effects, advanced effects that I can use, video, Vivo photography that has also an AI option to intelligently optimize stuff that is working a little bit better there. Many tools that allow you to do things, but in general it's a bit less than I have on other devices there, which is a little bit of a concern if I compare it, for example, with Honor devices or even with Oppo devices, and they rely heavily on the network, so you cannot download them and use them offline, which is a concern maybe to some people as well. But to be completely honest, I'm only using a handful of AI features, and I'm a bit disappointed that I cannot long press to cut out things here on the Vivo, which is a bit of a concern for me. So here I can only take the whole thing and I can put it to this pill kind of thing that is totally useless to me, because it has like save to BlueM Copilot, which is like this AI that they have, save to albums, emails to send it to email, but to sending pictures via email to a new node. and yeah, WeChat sometimes, but the rest is like, I'm missing, like, for example, the possibility to like have it just put it up there as a little clipboard or something like this. So Vivo, if you're listening, other devices have the possibility to use such thing as a clipboard. Other devices have the possibility to cut out people, for example. Let's just have like those birds, or cut out birds, for example, by pressing and holding. But here I can just only cut the whole picture out and send it to somewhere, but I don't have the possibility to cut out. I have to go to edit and then choose cut out, and then it will give me a data usage reminder, because I'm like using data now, and yeah, it says it cannot do it. But there I have like the possibilities, like background, get rid of the background, ID photo, adjust things, art, painting and stickers. Let's try to get this away, but you can see it's like not detecting this. So it is a bit of cumbersome and a bit of limited in certain areas there. I added this AI section because I think it is getting more and more popular amongst people and more useful as well, especially the cutting out feature. I use sometimes for creating my thumbnails here, so it is very useful. But also reflection remover is very useful if you have some reflections when you're taking a nice shot from a moving car, from within a moving car, I mean, or when you take a shot in the zoo, for example, of a nice animal, and you have some bit of a reflection, because sometimes you cannot adjust your positioning because so many people are watching through the glass, the lion jumping or something, and you want to catch this moment, just take the shot and you have a bit of reflection there. And it's a nice addition to have this AI to be able to remove those reflections to create a better shot. And sadly on the Vivo I don't have an option to just remove this, so it is a bit of a limit there that I see that might be a concern for some people if you decide which one is the better phone, this one for example, or the other Find X8 Ultra. And which one is now the better phone? Currently the Apple Find X8 Ultra is on top of my ranking list. We will find out right now in my ranking list. Here we have the ranking of the Vivo X200 Ultra in a bit of more detail. In the end, the total is 4.716 points. When we take a look at the ranking list, you will see that besides the X200 Ultra, I also ranked the X100 Ultra, simply because I long-term dailied it and I didn't do a review of it, but still want to give it the points fair and square so that you have also something to compare with. And let's compare the X200 Ultra with the number one ranking, the Find X8 Ultra, and where are the difference here? The major differentiator between those two are a little bit the software experience that is a bit worse on the X200 Ultra, also to its predecessor. I had camera crashes, I had slower micro stutters in some applications. I think with the latest update that came 2 days ago, the camera crashes are gone, but I cannot be for sure right now because I get so many updates, like sometimes twice a week updates, sometimes a normal update and then a trial update, that I am giving it full points there when it comes to updates. But the software experience still is a bit weaker than on the X100 Ultra that I never had those issues with. Still, the best top notch is the Find X8 Ultra, the fluidity of the system, the features that you have there, the possibilities to drag something to a file dock, for example, which is missing on the original OS Vivo operating system, is simply a thing that makes the software experience better on the Find X8 Ultra. The Vivo X200 Ultra has the top-notch camera system for sure, and even the X100 Ultra is still competing against the X8 Ultra. You can see how close they are in the camera department there. Connectivity, however, is a win for the Vivo, for the Oppo. The Vivo is very strong there, but a bit weaker with its GPS and cellular connection when you compare it directly with the Oppo. When we talk about differences between the X200 Ultra and X100 Ultra, it's definitely speaker and haptics. Way better on the X100 Ultra. The haptics is not perfect. The perfect one is on the Find X8 Ultra. The speaker is not perfect either, but it is definitely way better than on the X200 Ultra that has a weak speaker. It's just a mid-range speaker. Just the mids are coming out there of the speaker and not so much the highs and the bass. This is why this is a disappointment for me for the X200 Ultra. They focus on camera, but the audio is a bit of a letdown there. Definitely the X8 Ultra with its top-notch haptics is way better. The speaker is almost on par as with the X100 Ultra, but the haptics are so much better that it gets the top score here. Security and features, definitely security features are the same there. Very, very good. It doesn't have the 3D face scan, which I like to have. The Magic 6 Pro has this, but you can see 4.5 points there because it doesn't get so many updates on a regular basis, just like the Vivo or Oppo devices are getting. You can see they're very close together here. 4.733 points for the top score and 4.716 points and 4.715 points for the Vivo devices here. So what do you think about this ranking here? I can tell you, spoiler alert, the Huawei Pura X will not top this ranking here because the performance is roughly in the same ballpark as the Pura 70 Ultra there, and the battery life probably is a bit weaker even. So this will not catapult it to the top there, but it will be interesting to see for some people what my software experience on HarmonyOS Next, HarmonyOS 5.x will be on the Pura X device. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned for my next long-term review. That's it for this video. If you have some questions, comments regarding my ranking system, regarding your experience with these devices, and if you're deciding between which is the best device, I want to know which is the best device as an overall phone. The Oppo Find X8 Ultra is the better device right now. As overall camera, the Vivo X200 Ultra is the overall better device right now. That's it. Until the next time. Bye. And the device that I was recording this whole video with, except of course the screen recording that I did on my desktop, is the Huawei Pura X. I'm using it right now also with the internal microphone, so no microphone attached here. It's a bit of a breeze going on, wind, but yeah, it's Huawei. Huawei knows how to filter out wind noises and how to create great microphones sounding on the device. This is a device that I will long-term drive next time, or basically this time. After the Vivo X200 Ultra, yes, I'm trying to drive a daily drive a HarmonyOS Next device, HarmonyOS 5.01 that it's currently running with. Pretty excited, a bit scared as well, because do all my apps run on it, but it's getting so much better now that I'm really trying to use it as my main device. I was using it as a third device basically. My primary device was the Vivo, then the Oppo Find X8 Ultra as my secondary device, and this is my third device, more like a tablet or reading machine kind. But it got so much better. There's now CalDAV support that is supporting syncing my appointments with my calendar. There's still no syncing of contacts, but to be honest, I'm not adding too much contacts into my contact book every day, so I can probably live with 1 or 2 months with this one. And Android applications are running far better with the third-party Android application containers, but I would think give it a go. I can pay with it. I already showed you and demonstrated to you. I can do videos, even though they are, in terms of quality, probably not as good as the Vivo or the Oppo. What is keeping me from using it as my daily drive and give you my experience report? It might be very useful also for some people that are thinking about buying the Pura X now that the prices are a bit falling. Or maybe are thinking about buying the Pura 80 Ultra, which is its sister, the bigger camera kind of expert sister. And I really wish I could have the possibility to also have the Pura 80 Ultra, but currently it's financially not feasible to spend so much money for this device if I have all the other flagship devices already. But maybe at one point I have the possibility to do so. Oh, it's getting very windy. Anyway, that's a good point to say bye-bye. This one here will be the next long-term review, hopefully, Pura X. So look forward to it, and that's it. Add-on.